Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WOR. The first time we are going to have a it's cross-platform, and it's incredible, and it's a top tier. As you may know, I am Gareth Davis, or Water Zero, as it says underneath me. Myself and Ryan, the incredible Ryan, are going to be your commentators for this season here. And Ryan, welcome along. This is the best thing that we're going to have on a Friday night for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it certainly is, and what a grid! What a bunch of drivers we have on our hands for this season. Obviously, big announcement coming out today of Otis Lawrence moving to PC finally, so we will have a new champion on that sense. But it's going to be the first ever cross-platform champion, so it'll be interesting to see who can be that first driver to write their name in the history books. But yeah, I'm excited for this season. What an opener we've got at Brazil. We've seen so many dramatic races there on Xbox and PlayStation. So what a way to open up the season.
So obviously we know about the Otis Lawrence thing now. He is moved to reserve for this, so he might race a few times. But let's have a look at the rest of the placements here in WOR. And my God, there is some incredible drivers on show here. The Shizou Rowan. There's loads of names that are new to us from a WOR side point of view. And Rowan is one of them. And you've got Legend there. I think Shizou Tom and Jensen are all drivers new to this, but not to mention some of the other incredible drivers we got there. PSR Wilson, Cider, Smokey, Axe, Sav, Fern, Choco, McCabe, Sam, and PSR Connor. All these names we know. Levy as well. There's so many to go through here. This is mental.
Yeah, there's so many talented drivers and so many drivers that are still going to be wanting to make a name for themselves, especially after some of the seasons that they had previously. And there's certainly drivers wanting to make a statement. You know, Wilson, now he's got a real chance in his hands to really claim a title, but these PS drivers, you know, the list goes on of how many talented drivers there are. Shizou Rowan is going to be looking to, you know, add to this collection of titles. So it'll be interesting to see who is going to make that first step this season in qualifying and in the race, because you know we saw a few times last season NRX Matthew, one of those drivers who was very good in qualifying but didn't really deliver in the race. So it'll be interesting to see if he's made any adjustments on that hand. And remember, we've got two new drivers as well from Tier 2 on the Xbox side of Levi and Stonks, and we saw a glimpse of Levi last season as well. He made some really good inroads on this grid, on the Xbox grid. So it'd be interesting to see what those two drivers on the Xbox side will be able to do on this cross-platform grid.
Okay, we've mentioned Wilson there as well, but Smokey and Cy, they're both drivers who are drivers who've won in WR before. Obviously, this console tier that we've got now is a little bit different, but I mean, can they take? I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the PlayStation side at all yet, but can the Xbox side still shine?
Yeah, definitely, they've got enough drivers on that grid that can definitely, you know, put up a fight against these PS drivers. And if you can cast your mind back to that incredible cross-platform event with the PS guys in Austria, the racing was incredible. So, and you know, there was a good mix between everybody. The qualifying was really close, but the racing was superb. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out across the whole season. And you know, there's so many drivers on this grid, and it's unpredictable. That's what I like about this. We don't have that factor of, you know, the guy who dominated Xbox all last season is on this grid. So I'm really looking forward to how this all might unfold, because every round could be a different race winner.
Definitely, and that is what is, well, what we're here for. We're here to really see who and when and how all these drivers can show us what they are capable of. There's some incredible drivers out there, and you know what? I'm not sure right now who to back. I've seen some of the PlayStation guys with the OG, you could say, PlayStation versus Xbox event. You've had a PlayStation versus Xbox event as well, and that just shows how good it has been as well. But before we get down to action and before we do everything there is a collaboration with WOR and with the Williams Esports side of things. So this is something incredible. I haven't fully seen all the details, so honestly, guys, have a look at the Twitter and the Discord for all of this, but enjoy. There we have it. What an incredible thing going on there. Able to get the proper esports equipment and drive, and from the Williams Esports side of things, you know, a household name in Formula One and the esports side of things. So a lot to come from that. And well, before we get any further, Ryan, I mean, the drivers are going out on track thick and fast, but I want your prediction for a champion right here, right now. Yeah, and I think it's Levy, the first driver on it. So, you know what? Let's head over to the race screen and really see what is happening. We've got Levy on action right now. And you know what? This is going to be a crazy, crazy race to really go. And actually, Levy's let drivers past. So it might... Is it Rusty? No, it is. It's Rusty that is actually... going to set a lap time first. Let's see what he can do. And unfortunately, your mic cut out for everyone. So I'm going to ask to just check your mic, Ryan, I'm afraid.
Yeah? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but everything is set on the stream. So
Okay.
I'm hoping people can hear you again. But his pick, by the way, was PSR Wilson. He was backing the Red Bull of PSR Wilson, but there's a lot of cars out on track, so I'm guessing, like you mentioned when no one could hear you, there is a chance of rain a little bit later on. That's why we've got so many drivers out on track. And, well, Rusty's going to be the first one to set a lap time. There's a Ferrari going very slow in the background, but here comes Rusty across the line. And it is going to be a 107.2 to start the life. That's not going to set the world alight, is it? I think we're looking at 107s?
Yeah, very low 107s. That's not too bad of a banker lap time at all there from Rusty. Stonk's coming up to line now. He'll be looking to impress, and he goes up into P4 alongside his Aston Martin colleague. But yes, so early on in qualifying, I am expecting these low 7s, and if qualifying does go on and there is no rain, expect to breach into the 106s. And Dezo, F1, he has spun round, so this could be him starting at the back of qualifying here. That is a really bad mistake there for the McLaren driver. But yes, early on, this is some very, very good lap times from Rusty in particular, the only man to breach into the 107.2. So very, very quick indeed. But as the qualifying progresses, expect to see these drivers breach into the 106s.
Sav has just crossed the line to start his lap time, so I think he got caught in traffic because a 121 is not what the lap time you would expect from him at all. I wonder if any other drivers are going to risk a second lap on these softs this early doors. We don't know when or if this rain is going to be, or if it's going to be bad enough for stopping people from setting lap times, but he is slightly up on his first sector time. PSR Sav, someone we know very, very well here in WOR, some incredible pace majority of the time. And let's see if he can transform it. But the track is looking a little greasy out there at the moment. And there is the shot of rain, which indicates rain is on the way.
Yeah, hitting the car of that McCabe Sam as well. He moves up into P6. A good lap time there from the Alfa Romeo. He'll be happy with that one. Fern as well now in the Ferrari coming around the final corner. Let's see what he can do. Can he move this Ferrari any higher than P16? Up to line now. It's enough for P10. I think he'll be quite satisfied with that one. And there we go. PSR Sav as well. He has to do this lap time now. Otherwise, he'll be starting down in P17. So, the Red Bull man, what can he do? Around the final corner he goes. Up to line now. And it's a 107.282 there for the Red Bull man. That's a very good lap time from PSR Sav.
Rusty's put, I think Rusty's put that lap time in at the perfect opportunity. Fern is 2 seconds down on his lap time. Placky then in as a reserve in the McLaren team for this week, but there's an awful lot of rain on that halo of the McLaren, and he could still set a competitive lap time, especially with a lot of the cars on a 107.5. You'd expect them to push into the 107.3s right now. So opportunity for him to make a few places, but not much time left to do it.
Yeah, when the rain starts to hit, the track becomes harder and harder to drive. Even like in the first sector, it'll become even harder now. Fern definitely wouldn't have been able to improve on his lap time. So realistically, I don't see any improvements from anybody. Although some drivers are testing the waters here, you'll see the grip in the corners will be significantly less, and you'll see the drivers starting to, struggle on the power in particular. So I don't really expect to see much improvement. And that's going to be a surprise, seeing Shazoo Jensen down in P15. That's not like him at all. So the Williams driver is going to have a lot on his hands here. If he does not improve, and he is going to risk it now by starting another lap.
There's a lot of pressure on a lot of these drivers because it's all a little bit out there. Legend then in 6th place as well. Expected a little bit higher up from there, but same old Choco. Qualifying pace is there. He's up into the top 5. Can he change this season and get the race pace and get some podiums and some maybe wins for this season?
We'll have to wait and see with Choco. He's been in a lot of incidents in the previous season, so I wonder if the game plan this season for him will definitely be a bit of a safer approach and really just think of the longevity of this season. You don't want to burn yourself out after one round. It's a long season. We've got plenty of rounds, and getting points on the board is the most vital thing. You don't want to go scoreless in the first event. You can't win the title after one race. So, this is where the drivers have to be very, very smart and maybe not take as many risks. And that's Jensen going right round in sector 2. Big mistake, and that's what I mean with the rain coming down. These drivers are not going to be able to improve, but Choco definitely has the potential and the possibility to certainly pick up a few podiums and wins this season. But the question is, will he be able to deliver it is another thing.
And there's Sider, I think, making a mistake, not making a mistake, but it's the weather it is the weather into turn 10. He's just not able to put the power down in Ferradura, and it's just cost him a little bit there. He's way off the track. A lot of these cars. This is going to be a really tough. We're having drivers retire from the session. Do you think this is going to be this is it for qualifying? Do you think people are just going to pop into the pit, retire, with a couple of drivers staying out just to get a little bit of wet weather practice?
Yeah, I think this is going to be it. If there was going to be rain, I don't think any of these drivers would retire. That's the thing. So it probably suggests to me that these drivers are all, that's it. It's going to be hopefully a dry race for their sake. Otherwise, it would be a bit of a silly mistake retiring, because definitely getting some practice in the rain certainly does help. And I know a lot of these drivers do not practice in the rain, so every little lap helps. And yeah, everybody is deciding to retire, so that is going to be our grid, I believe, for this qualifying session. And this is going to be very, very interesting, because a lot of drivers are in positions that probably we wouldn't expect them to be. This is
going to be interesting. We got Sider and Wilson 8th and 9th. Usually we're expecting them up there battling away with Otis Lawrence. Obviously Otis isn't here this week, and they're down 8th and 9th respectively at the moment, and they're trying to put a lap in, same as McCabe Sam, same as Axe here, NVR Axe, who's getting very close to the Red Bull. But I think it's a dry race, so I think a lot of people will retire from this one, but there might be a couple try and get into the other drivers' heads.
Yeah, hopefully, if this is going to be it, there's no more rain, and there definitely isn't going to be any more reign for the race, then hopefully all these drivers do decide to retire. It'll be probably the shortest qualifying in WR history, I'd say. So that's quite interesting to say the least. But hopefully, that is going to be it. And I'm really surprised how this has all unfolded. But you know what we said, there's basically a one-lap shootout for many of these drivers. And Rusty delivered that crucial one lap, and it's an unbelievable pole position.
You know what? I think it's really, really interesting to see Shazoo Tom there in third place as well. So at the moment, the top three, not that is a PlayStation versus Xbox event, but the top three, it's 2 to Xbox and 1 to PlayStation. So just waiting on McCabe, Sam and Levi to retire from this. If they will, they might not. They might, like I said, they might put on an set of intermediates, really just to I don't want to say play mind games, but it can help really for them to frustrate some of the other drivers. And look at McCabe Sam's getting a set of wets ready. You know what? Dry in the race, but it's one of those things, isn't it, Ryan? These drivers try and do things like this.
Yeah, I'm really not surprised McCabe Sam is doing this at all. This is typical McCabe Sam esque mind games, I'd say. Seen him doing this a lot in the previous games, and this is typical McCabe Sam, and he's just going to wind up every single driver on this grid. Everybody's agreed to retire, but from McCabe Sam and Levi. So, and you know, he can do what he wants, and he's going to have a bit of fun on the stream, give us a bit of entertainment. But you know, he's fully entitled to do this. He doesn't want to get disqualified, though, because he might actually get put to the back of the grid if he's not careful. As I have seen that happen before, but in theory it should just retire him. He's going to do a lap backwards on his outlap, and I've not seen this before in a WR stream, so there's a first for everything, shall we say.
Yeah, this is an interesting one for McCabe Sam. Levi, sorry, is not retiring either yet, so this is going to be an interesting one. And you know what? As much as I'd love to, actually, I will just stay on McCabe Sam a little bit longer, but obviously Rusty pole position for the time being. It's going to be an interesting start to this Grand Prix, because we should expect a one stop here at Brazil.
Yeah, and Rusty's got it all to play for. You know, he can really bounce back, I would say, this season, and you know, shut up a lot of the haters out there who doubted him a lot. I'd say, because everybody I remember on Xbox was just saying how he's much of a quality merchant, and I've seen most of his recent races anyway that he's been, you know, getting poles and getting podiums and a few race wins along the way. So it'll be interesting to see what he'll be able to do. But one eye I'm going to keep a close eye on as well is that Red Bull partnership of PSR7, PSR Wilson. They've been putting a lot of practice into this one, and Sav has got, you know, that potential, I think, as well, to also challenge for the title. So let's see how this all plays out. And I feel like that one is going to be a very, very big lap here, as track position is quite crucial at Brazil. So again, Rusty, can he deliver this race pace that we've seen previously? Let's find out, because I feel like the pressure off this WR Tier 1 season is going to maybe, you know, weigh on him, and let's see if he can handle it.
Right, let's head back over to us for the time being, as into pits goes McCabe Sam. I mean, it's going to be an interesting season throughout, because we know that these drivers have the capability of winning races. That's the reason why they're in this Tier 1 of the crossplay. So with no Otis Lawrence, and that's no disrespect for him last season, because he was incredible, it is anyone's game, and it's anyone's game, and we can get to see what happens for real this time. It's got full capability of it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the exciting thing about this. No Otis Lawrence, and that's, I feel like, just adds that bit more excitement to it, because everybody, you know, on any platform would say Otis would be the favourite for this title, but now we don't have that favourite. I think it's really going to play a significant impact on this season, and I feel like we'll have different race winners for possibly each round. So, and with these conditions and whatnot, that qualifying as well, throwing a curveball straight away into this opening round at Brazil. So let's see how it plays out. But one name I was really, really surprised about was Jensen. So far down, P15. It's going to be a big, big task for the Williams driver to see what he can do, and can he make any inroads on that poor qualifying.
Well, I went to go down the list, but apparently it's not going to give us the list tonight. So let's go back to us. That's a very, very great game, Codemasters. You've continued to supply us, but a cracking, I can't say it. It was an interesting qualifying. It was effectively a one-shot. You had one chance to get that lap time in, and one driver did. And some of those drivers sometimes crack under pressure. They need those extra few laps to get it going, or they thrive with they've done a few laps and they're ready to go. It's nearly time. Who's going to win this race, Ryan?
Oh, big question, and but I do think it's going to be. I feel Sav is in that perfect position to possibly win this race, and I feel like he's putting that practice, putting that time. But also another name I wouldn't count out is Shizhu Tom. We saw his race pace at Austria, and I feel like it's between those two, in my opinion, if they can apply the pressure to Rusty.
Here we go. The time has come. The crossplay WR Tier 1 race is underway very, very shortly. We're on 5 red lights here at Brazil, and away we go. And it looks like PSR Sav's had a really good start off the line, but we're still side by side. Choco's going to have to make moves as well, but it looks like Shizu Tom has had the better of the start out of the front guys, and he's up past PSR Sav, but Sav is giving as good as he can get. Smokey is battling away in there as well. Down 2 places, McCabe Sam. His reverse driving has not done him any good at all. And Sider and PSR Wilson trying to get themselves through the grid. But we've lost someone. Someone is out of this race, and that is Shizu Tom out of the Brazilian Grand Prix, not even before turn 5.
I'm not sure what's gone on, but there could have been a squeeze into turn 5 there, or turn 4, sorry, into turn 4. He must have got a squeeze on that grass, and he's just gone right round. But there's a bit of a battle in the midfield. Fabi going to go to the inside, now to the outside line of Levi. Can he make the move stick? Levi's going to try and hold it again around the outside. Bit of contact between the two. And Fabi back down the inside. He gets that move done. A fantastic move there from the Mercedes, making some inroads. But Levi looking to put up a defense. And Shizu Jensen, the PS champion, now making some inroads. Up 2 positions. He's getting a bit of a squeeze there from NRX Cinderi. But Jensen on a hunt.
Yeah, Jensen's up 2 places. Placky's up 6. A great start for him as well as Cinderi. Rusty, fastest man on the track. Sav trying to catch him up as well. But Shizu Tom is going to be absolutely fuming with the start that he's had. That's not what he would have wanted. We've got side-by-side action in the background there with Placky and Pisty. And Pisty trying to get the move back done on the McLaren driver. But let's go up a little bit because Choco, Sider, McCabe Sam and Legend all battling away. Legend trying to go around the outside of his teammate. This is not teammate stuff right now, but at the moment, Sider and Wilson having the best start.
But that best start's going to haunt them a little bit now, because Cypher's got a lot of work to do. 1.3 seconds is the gap to Smokey. He needs to find around 2.5 attempts if he wants to get right back into this DRS range, and it's going to be crucial to get back in this DRS, and he hasn't got the ERS, by the way, to defend right now. Down to 24%. He might just have to let Wilson go through just to enable them to stay in that train. But Cypher having a very good middle and last sector, so he's back into that DRS for now. But at the minute, it's a good start from Rusty, who's nearly broken the DRS of PSR Sav.
Is Rusty Otis Lawrence in disguise? I don't think he is, but he's doing a cracking job at it at the start of this race. Battling away in the background is Stonks, the Tier 2 champion of WR last season, up into Tier 1 in the crossplay, and he's doing incredible stuff at the moment. He's trying to get past a PlayStation I believe Legend was a PlayStation champion in the past, and he's giving as good as he can get, Stonks, right now.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing a good job. Got nice, healthy battery as well. And I think he's just going to settle into this race now. P9 is not a bad position to be in lap 3 of this race. So just settle in down and getting into that rhythm is going to be crucial. But crucially as well, Cypher has now lost the DRS to Smokey, so this is going to be huge for this race if Wilson cannot overtake Cypher, because if those three can pull away, it's going to be a three-way battle for this lead. And by the way, Rusty has got some good battery life at this moment in time. 86% to Sav's around 60. So this is quite an interesting turn of events between these guys. But I guess maybe that lap 1 contact between Sav and Tom, I believe they must have made some contact, and that must have gone into it. But there we go, Wilson and Cypher switching around. Good team orders from the PSR guys, because now, you know, Wilson's going to have to drain that battery and get within that DRS range of Smokey.
Yeah, and Smokey's dropping away from PSR Sav as well. So really, the top two doing a number on the rest of the grid right now. So, Smokey is really hanging on for dear life to the top two. And I mean, we've spoken about that towards the end of last season with Nick and Otis Lawrence. They were the drivers pulling away. But Rusty and Sav doing a cracking job at the moment, a bit further down. Everyone, by the way, has started on a set of hard compound tyres. That's what they are trying, well, to produce at the moment. I think we're going to see a couple of undercuts to try and get themselves through. But Wilson trying to get back at Smokey, but it's not happening. 1.1 seconds. I think they're going to have to swap over Sider and Wilson again.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're just going to need to keep DRSing each other here and just hope and pray that Smokey does drop out, because Smokey, again, he is struggling on the battery as well, and Wilson used every last drop to get back in, and I don't think it would be a bad thing, you know, for Smokey to let Wilson in, to maybe just relieve some of that pressure, and then they can work together again to really get back in that DRS, because now Smokey, I think he might have just been out, or he's just somehow survived there, but it's very, very close before, and it's going to be interesting. I'm really not sure how this is all going to play out between the top three, but again, strategy is going to come into this, and let's see how this all unfolds.
Well, we have lost one driver, and that is Shizu Tom on the first lap of this first race of the season at WOR Tier 1. VSR Smokey desperate to keep on to the back end of PSR Sav right now. Rusty is doing everything he can. He's racing his own race, and I wonder if he's going to start trying to just eke out a few things from Sav in the background. But it's great to see a new name at the top of the timing boards here in WOR. Looking a bit further down, Sindri and Jensen possibly battling away. Look how close Sindri is to the back end of that Williams. This could be an overtaking opportunity for Sindri.
Yeah, Jensen's done a good job this lap as well. He's managed to close in on Levi a little bit more, but now Sindri's had a very good middle sector, and there we go. I think that's a bit of the setup difference being shown on display there between Sindri and Jensen. Jensen might be running, you know, a little bit low on the wings, better straight line speed, while Sindri's definitely gone for higher downforce, better for that middle sector, and that is a very, very crucial sector. And it's interesting to see how Jensen has been able to make some moves, you know, from P15 up into P12 now. He'll be happy with the progress he's making, but can he make some more is the question.
Definitely the question on hand, and a lot of PSR drivers here tonight, a lot of them teammates as well, and they're going to possibly use this to their advantage. Smokey, is he dropped from the top front too? Is there going to be a second train? Are we going to see this for full life as we can? But I'm just going to say on board with Sindri again, because his middle sector, you are right, it's got to be the setup, but he is incredible through those corners.
Yeah, definitely, and again, he'll gain through here, he'll use some of the battery, but Jensen's straight line speed will just save him. Essentially, he's able to save more of the battery compared to Sindri, and there you go again, he just pulls out around 3/10 every single time to when Sindri gets close, and that's just his safe bubble. So if Jensen has one good middle sector, he really can apply that pressure to Levi and force him either into a mistake or into a move. But they're getting onto the curb a little bit. Was Jensen getting a bit out of shape? Maybe, just maybe, Sindri could have taken that opportunity if he was a little bit closer. But for now, I think he's just got to save that battery and just settle into this race.
Yeah, they've got the two Alpines behind them as well. Got to be careful. Both of them are pretty decent drivers. But let's go back on board with the leaders, because they're close together at 0.3 of a second separating the two drivers, with VSR Smokey now 1.6 seconds behind this. One mistake can change that. However, the front two drivers looking very, very quick right now and pulling away just little by little when each lap goes past.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder what the tactics will be between these two as well. What will Sav do? Will he go for that attack, or will he just always sit behind Rusty? Because, he's free to do what he wants. He can save the tires, save the battery, and really just nurse him until his pit stop window. So that's what I'm going to be interested to see what Sav decides to do. Up to 75%, he's done a good job of recouping that battery, showing he has got some good pace as well. But Rusty as well, he's looking comfortable out in front right now. Doesn't look to be making any mistakes. Seems to be finding that rhythm, finding that flow around Sao Paulo right now, and it's a good drive so far from the Haas driver. But again, let's see how this all unfolds. One mistake, one error, and that can change the turnings right round, and especially into this corner, into Ferradura. There's so many mistakes getting on the power through here. I had an absolute nightmare when I was doing this online, and the power and the precision you've got to take through that middle sector is so key to get good exits. So one mistake from any of these drivers and they could go up into the wall.
And that's all it takes. One, lapse in concentration, and it could end badly for anyone. But at the moment, these two, the class above anyone else, and it's a shame for Shizu Tom. Sorry, he's struggled a little bit. These two's ERS usage was very, very similar. And I think Rusty actually has just that overall pace advantage over PSR Sav, but the DRS is just keeping him in. Legend then getting past McCabe Sam, they move into turn, before turn one. It looks like McCabe Sam is having a little bit of connection issues. Looking a bit further down, Pisty is trying to get close to the back end of Cindery, but I don't think anything's going to happen there either. PSR Fern and Placky dropping away. Placky had a great start, but then just seems to have fallen away by the wayside a little bit right now, Ryan.
Yeah, shame for Placky as well. A bit of a poor qualifying, and obviously must have got tangled up in some kind of incident because Fern as well, down in P19. He'll be disappointed by that one. The two Ferraris and McLaren's not having a good race so far. But Dezo as well, he's onto the back of Connor, who's really just looking to make some inroads as well. Down in P15 and 14 for the Team Alpine. They'll be looking to, make some overtakes and really get themselves up the field. But at this moment in time, nothing really happening. But Levi, crucially, by the way, out of the DRS. He seems to be struggling, does the Haas driver. No battery left, and this could invite Jensen now to start going for a move.
Yeah, we'll look on board with Choco. And just ahead, Wilson and Smokey swapping places as well. Choco can't make a move on Scyther, but Smokey and Wilson have swapped, and that is Fern making a mistake at Zhangzhou at turn 12 there. But here comes Smokey all over the back of the Red Bull. Will he try and make a move stick? He closes the DRS, so he's happy to stay behind for the time being. These two possibly working together to try and close that 2.8 second gap to the leaders. But Wilson's trying to make endways right now. He's looking quick.
Yeah, and another move just happened as well. PSR Pisty must have been listening to me in the comments box, and he's gone and made a move on Cindery now. Must have been a mistake there from the AlphaTauri because, Pisty wasn't too far to really pose any kind of threat making a move. But you can just see the apex speed Cindery's able to carry through this middle sector is so much more significantly quicker than the Alpine. So that just tells you the setup difference is quite significant in terms of the downforce being applied between these two cars. And, this is where the wings are playing a big factor in this race, and Cindery's seeing the drawbacks of his setup, and that's why, qualifying and race setups are so different, and you need to get a good balance if you want to have a good race.
And Scyther getting close to the back end as Smokey for the battle for P4. Wilson looks like he's just turned up a little bit right now, and Smokey, we saw this a few times last season where Smokey had that overall pace, in qualifying pace, but his race pace sometimes dropped away, and could be problematic for him this season. But definitely one with a chance for the championship, like a lot of these drivers are. But Rusty's definitely making himself in a good shout for this season. It's someone that's really putting their name in the hat.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why I said don't count him out, because certainly because he's been working on this side of his game of just being that much more consistent in the race, and you're starting to see that now. And I feel like Sav is certainly starting to find a little bit of a rhythm at this point in time, because again, saving that ERS a little bit better than Rusty. Rusty's just keeping that gap where he feels comfortable enough that Sav doesn't pose a threat of making any kind of overtake. And this is good driving from the pair of them, and they're just able to extend lap by lap on Wilson and Smokey. So the gap's just around about 3 seconds to Sav. And there we go. We've got some moves in the background. Jensen letting Pisty by, and Connor going past Sindri. And as we've been told as well, Sindri's actually using a wet setup, which is a very interesting decision when it was going to be dry straight away. So maybe he just needed to check the weather forecast a little bit better there. But some interesting moves in this part of the field. And now Pisty is going to make some inroads on Levi.
Yeah, this is a shame for Sindri, and it shows why his middle sector is so good, but not what he would have wanted in this the basking Brazilian sunlight that we've got right now here in WOR. Cider again gets close to the back end of Smokey, but it just can't seem to stick to it. I think he needs Wilson to get he needs Smokey to get Wilson to get away from Smokey so he can use the DRS to get past Smokey, but then he also needs Wilson to stick around so he can catch up to Sav and Rusty. I think Cider's got the overall pace advantage over Smokey. It's just not working for him right now. Down the back straight they go, and actually, if anyone's going to make a move, Choco is going to make a move on Cider.
Yeah, exactly. Choco's just keeping Cypher aware that he's still there, and he's got great battery life compared to Cypher as well. 90%. Has Choco got, so he's got battery to burn here, and he can really force an error on Kai, because there's so much ERS that he can burn that Cypher's really got to be careful around about the 60% mark for the Aston Martin. He's got to be aware of that. He's got to be mindful that if Choco sees a mistake, he can burn, and he will make him drain that ERS, because that's what Cypher has been able to do in these last few laps, is just being able to recoup that battery which he has been using previously to get back into that DRS. So he's done a good job on that path. But at this point in the race as well, Wilson has done a good job. He's brought the gap down from 3 seconds to around 2.5. So he's got some good pace as Wilson in clean air, and he is starting to make slowly but surely some inroads on the leaders.
But does he want to? That's the other thing he's got to think of, because at the moment the Red Bulls could double. Well, not right now, they can't double stack, but there's a possibility that they could double stack. But I don't see that being their way of running. I think one of them's going to go a bit longer on the hards and have the fresher tyre, hopefully give us some action towards the end of this Grand Prix, because right now it's all very much a chest game, because some of these drivers are just driving impeccably.
Yeah, that's it, and we're just in a stalemate right now, and nobody's looking to make any moves, and they're just trying to find that rhythm, and they're not close enough as well. Nobody's really 2 tenths, 3 tenths behind at any point in this sector. So in the middle sector, you've got to be really, really close to even think of them making a move, especially into turn 10. It's a prime opportunity into this corner here. So I'll really find that interesting to see how this is all playing out. But everybody is just saving up their battery and just getting ready to go on the attack. But Legend as well in P7, he's having a good race right now, and the AlphaTauris keep a close eye on him, because he is making inroads on Choco after making that move on McCabe Sam. He is doing a very good job as the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, definitely. He's down a position than where he started, which is probably not what he would have wanted at all. But looking at some of the biggest losers and gainers from this race, Wilson up 6 places, Cider up 3. As we've lost Sindri, Sindri's gone into the pits. I thought that could have been a crash, but I think he's fed up with that setup, to be honest, and I don't blame it. It's going to be so difficult. But as I think Caesar said in the chat, that there would have been a lot of tyre wear options for him.
Yeah, exactly, and rightly said about the wet subs. They'll have way more tyre life in them, because obviously higher downforce, you're not wearing them out as much. So quite interesting to see that he did retire, but obviously he felt he had no options, and it was a losing battle, especially with that long straight, before turn 1. So it made sense, I think, on his behalf probably to retire, because eventually everybody would have overtaken him once again. So yeah, it's again at this moment in time just the midfield. There's a bit of a train detachment at this moment in time, because Levi again somehow holding on and doing a good job from Pisty, really not making sure he can make any moves. But there we go, Wilson going into the pits here on lap 15.
That is really early on a set of hard compound tyres, surely. you would be expecting to go a little bit longer than that, maybe lap 19. But he's gone early. He's maybe going to try and do something a little bit different to catch up to the top end. But look how close Sav is to the back end of Rusty. He's pushing it this time around, but I don't think it's going to work just yet. But with that early pit stop, do you think the Red Bulls are trying to get Rusty to make a mistake, and this is working to get Sav the race victory?
Possibly, yes, but both of them used in a lot of the battery this lap, so it suggests to me they're both going to be going into the pits. Otherwise, Rusty would have been saving that battery, defending, and probably just letting Sav go. Suggests to me that both of them will be coming into the pits now, which makes a lot of sense. But again, will Sav make an overtake on track will be another question. Both of them, no. So Rusty decided to use that battery and not go into the pits. Interesting decision from the Haas driver. I feel like it would have been better for him to just let Sav go through and have the DRS and then probably cover off the undercut. But it's an interesting decision nevertheless. But again, Cypher as well, setting the fast lap of the race.
Yeah, I think Cyther being released, fresh air, everything, and Placky picking up a penalty there, just making it work for him. And 2.3 seconds to McCabe Sam behind, 3.8 seconds behind Rusty. Let's see what pace this Aston Martin actually has in comparison to the leader, and how it will all pan out for him, because Cyther's got pace. Cyther's a really, really good driver, so it will be interesting to see how it pans out. But Sav, Wilson only caught about 0.7 of a second to Sav in one lap. So maybe Rusty's going to decide to go longer. And if there is a safety car here, Ryan, it's an interesting one, because this could save Rusty a little bit.
Yeah, it could, but this is really playing in Wilson's favour, because look how much time he has gained. He should, in theory, get within Rusty's DRS once he comes into the pits. Let's see how this all plays out. But again, Smokey is a huge loser in this. 1.7 seconds. He's lost a ton of time to Wilson from this undercut. So that's a good decision from the Red Bull pairs to go for this undercut. In theory, Sav should come out in front in all of this.
Let's see what PSR Wilson can do. I'm going to stay on board with the second Red Bull driver, because it's 1.9 seconds I think at the moment. I think it went back up. He is the fastest man on the track. There's Cyther, who Wilson was fighting with earlier on. Cyther is going to be a lot further back out of this, and maybe even behind Legend at this race. But Rusty is in, theoretically, second place of this Grand Prix right now. Cyther and Legend going to be there, and I don't think there is any more. McCabe Sam down to 11th behind Stonks now.
Yeah, they're side by side. This is some good battling between the pair of them. Stonks struggling with the ERS, so McCabe Sam just does enough to get back in front, but they're going to make a little bit of contact here. And there we go. Will Stonks go for the move? No, he thinks better off it. That was interesting defending there from McCabe Sam, using his ERS wisely, but now he's got to gain his 2 attempts back to get within the DRS.
Now this is going to be an interesting one. Jensen, Dezo and Axe all on the set of hard compound tyre. They've got the leader of PSR Sav behind, but Sav is pulling away from Rusty behind him. It's just agonising. It was agonisingly close to a second then, but Rusty's got the straight line speed to get back into it. Into the pits then is Jensen. Jensen's going to drop down the grid order quite rapidly there, and PSR Sav 1.6 seconds behind Axe. Axe is desperate for a safety car right now, but I don't think it's going to go in his favour.
Yeah, what I've got a question of is, will Sav work with Wilson? Will he back up Rusty into Wilson to get him that DRS? Because if he does, they could work together here and potentially get a very good 1-2. And thinking of that Constructors' Championship, although a lot of these drivers don't tend to think of it, some of these drivers do care about it. So I wonder if Wilson and Sav will certainly be looking to work together in this aspect of this race. But again, Rusty's struggling with the RS, Sav looking a bit more comfortable in that aspect. But again, will Axe play a factor into this race now? Will he defend from Sav Legend is another question.
Let's have a look at it from Sav Legend's point of view as they round out of turn 12 into 13 into 14, and it's surely an easy overtake here for Sav, but hasn't got the straight line speed without the slipstream, so he's having to go there now, get the move done, and there's a car between Sav and Rusty, and I wonder if this was Sav's plan all along, to just frustrate Rusty that little bit more.
Yeah, and Axe doesn't want to get in any part of this battle at all, and he just lets Rusty pass, stays on the racing line, and just says, "There you go, get past and get on with it," because you don't want to upset drivers on lap one, well, round one, sorry, of this championship. You don't want to be making enemies this early on, but this could invite Wilson now within this DRS. So this is could be a good thing for Wilson here. 1 second now to Axe. If he can, time this right, he could launch himself into the DRS of both Rusty and Sav. So this could be huge for the race. And we could have, again, a three-way fight for this race win.
I think Axe's mistake out of the exit of turn 10 has cost Wilson that opportunity. It's going to be a relatively easy move for Wilson to get through and slingshot past. There goes Dezo, and it should be a relatively easy move there for Wilson. Up the inside, back onto the racing line. And what is the timing difference between the two of them? There is a car around in the background. It looks like it's Jensen that's around. But Dezo in the pits there. And it is 1.6 seconds. Wilson, it hasn't worked out for him.
No, it hasn't. He tried and gambled with that safety car, but not safety car, undercut, and it hasn't really paid off for him. But now he's in a good position. He's, near enough 2 seconds in front of Smokey here, so he's looking in a comfortable position. Is the Red Bull driver, but will his teammate try and hold up Rusty through this middle sector? Bit of teamwork could be really, really crucial between these two, but I don't think they'll be focusing on that once it's really just an individual championship here. You've got to think of yourself and not your teammate, and you've got to be that bit selfish. And I wonder if Rusty will go for this move on Sav sooner rather than later, just have that clean air as well. Because, driving in dirty air can certainly be uncomfortable, and at this point in the race as well, Rusty seems to me the more comfortable driver out of the two.
Yeah, and it looked like it was a mistake again from Jensen at the first at the center, or the center S, which is the first two corners. Sorry, into the curve of the Sol. Now goes Rusty. I don't think he was close down the start finish straight to Sav, but I don't think he's got a full amount of it. And down the Retta Aposta, he decides to stay behind the Red Bull for a little bit longer. Rusty, definitely, I think you're right. I think he's more settled. I think he's more comfortable as things stand. And he's on the youngest tyres out of the top four.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to be a huge advantage come to the final few laps of this race. Having that extra bit of grip can be so vital. And you're going to see Wilson, as this race progresses, struggle more and more. And that's going to be a big factor for him. And that can invite Smokey. 1 lap fresher tyres can be a game changer in the final few laps. And let's see how Wilson will be able to nurse his tyres, because I think he gambled on the fact that he would beat in DRS off Rusty and Sav with this undercut. Unfortunately for him, it hasn't worked out that way. So he'll have to do some time management, but both now, Rusty and Sav on the exact same battery. So things could get tasty very, very soon.
It's looking very good for these two drivers. They're pulling, just eking away from Wilson. Wilson is trying to fight back a few times as well. And I've just gone on board with Rusty through that first sector. It's interesting. Down through turn 15 to turn 1, the start-finish straight. The different lines that Rusty and Sav take, it's quite interesting. Even here, down into Ferradura, the lines that these two drivers are taking is very, very different, and that could be down to personal preference, but it's interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. And some drivers feel like different lines gain them a bit more time, and you can see it with the exits sometimes as well. And also Rusty, I feel like maybe just trying to take different lines so he's not as affected with the dirty air as well. So that's another factor into it as well. But yeah, like you said, through turn 15 here, he'll take a wider line and he'll use the hill, the mini hill on the right hand side to maybe gain a little bit of time. But it's better off just to stick within the slipstream, although it's not very effective on this game. It's just better off to stick behind him here and then just try and get that slingshot of an exit off turn 2. So that's the question. Will he just think a bit smarter here and just save that battery and go on that attack later on?
Time will tell. It's still a 1.6 second gap. I'm just going to go on board as Scyther quickly, because he's looking close to Smokey again, but nothing doing on this occasion. Scyther, another driver on younger tyres than his combatant right now, and 1 lap might not sound like a lot, Ryan, does it? But in the grand scheme of things, towards the end of the race, when the tyres are starting to die, that one lap is vital.
Yeah, it really is, and just on board with Pisty and Levi. They got past Connor as well, so Connor struggling in this race around Brazil. It's been a good track for him in the previous rounds here in WR and other leagues as well, so I'm surprised to see him struggle so much for the Alpine driver. But again, Pisty doing a good job for Team Alpine, up into P11 now, but again, it seemed to me that he's going to not get any points, crucially, for his championship hopes as well. But again, some good performances as well, I feel like, from Stonks and McCabe Sam after that internet connection issue, now up into P7 after that one, and Legend now back up into P6, and he is closing in slowly but surely to the back of Cypher as well. So could he get involved in this battle for P4? We'll have to wait and see.
An interesting one as well. McCabe Sam has jumped both Choco and obviously he was battling away with Stonks at the time, but he's now in front of his teammate. So Choco down to P8, all over the back of his teammate as well. But I am sticking on board with this one, though I feel like I should go on board with Rusty. It's the battle for the lead. He gets ever so close to PSR Sav. This could end really, really incredible, this Grand Prix. Lap 25 of 36, we have lost 2 drivers. Sindri, unfortunately, put a wet setup on, and he just wasn't feeling comfortable, wasn't able to get anything sorted out of it, and decided to retire in the pits. And we lost Shazoo Tom on the first lap of this race, and into turn 4 down the Retroposta, something happened to him, and it was not ideal at all. Here comes Rusty again. Livy is joined back into the party. Does Rusty do anything? No, he decides against it and sticks behind. Scyther finally getting past Smokey as well, and I wonder if these two drivers might work together to catch up with PSR Wilson. But 3.1 seconds with 11 laps to go is an awful lot of time to gain.
Yeah, it really is, and that's going to be a big old task for Cypher. But again, I didn't really see Smokey put much of a fight. He went into the inside line, but again, there's nothing more you can do. And there's that fastest lap glitch on fine display from Codemaster. Still haven't managed to fix that one. But again, Cypher and Smokey definitely should work together at this point in the race. I think for Smokey as well, maybe save the tyres a little bit now. Be behind him, save some of the battery, and then go on the attack later on, because if he can gain some tyre life back, he can really cause some problems to Cypher come towards the end.
Yeah, this is... you know what? I wonder how far these two PSR drivers, Sav and Wilson, will go to get Rusty into a sandwich here. Because if they continue to do that, that might be just the carrot dangling in front of Cider and Smokey. This might all be what they need. But the gap between Wilson and the top two is dropping. Legend getting the fastest lap of the race down in P6. You know what? Don't count him out for an outside chance of a P4 right now.
Yeah, back into that DRS now. He can save some of this battery and seriously fight for this P4 position. And it's a good drive. It's been a very, very good drive from Legend. He's been the only driver to me who's looked confident enough to make some overtakes. And Levi, unfortunately, spinning out, not causing any kind of incident. So there'll be no safety car on display. But again, Wilson as well. He's now starting to make some inroads. Although he hasn't been able to save some of that battery, I think Sav is doing a good job here to back up Rusty. Through this middle sector, although again Rusty just saving some of that battery up into nearly 70% is the Haas driver compared to Sav's 45, so it's quite interesting to see the ERS difference now, and we could see some moves at the front, because again you don't want to be predictable. Does Rusty going for this move for the race win? You don't want to leave it too late, because if Sav knows that, he's just not going to use the battery. He's going to save and save and save and wait for that opportunity to defend or try and pull away, and just make sure that Rusty has no opportunity. So Rusty's got to be careful not to go too soon, but also not to go too late.
Yeah, it's a massive strategy game, this. You think it's just driving around on a circuit. It's not like that at all. You've got to think about other drivers as well. There's another yellow flag, and that looks like a Ferrari in the background. Losing, I think it's PSR Fern through turn 10, turn 11, Mugello maybe. Unfortunate for him, not ideal for the Ferrari driver, but Scyther holding up the rest of the grid behind him there. It's 3.6 seconds. He's not been able to catch the PSR Wilson as I thought he might be able to, but PSR Wilson now 1.2 seconds behind Rusty. Sav's doing a good job. He's holding off he's holding back Rusty in the right places. But look how much ERS Wilson has. Only like 12% to go. I think Rusty's going to start making inways into the other Red Bull right now.
Yeah, he just used some of that battery but turned it off, interestingly enough. I think he's just making sure that Wilson does not have that opportunity to close in. But again, I feel like we could see a move. Now, Rusty's got to line this up beautifully into turn 1 and turn 2. Could he get that slingshot exit? Doesn't look like it, but again, DRS is available now. Will Sav have to defend? No, he's got a big enough gap once again. But again, through that middle sector and through sector 2, I did notice Rusty was able to close in that a little bit more in previous laps, and maybe that was Sav maybe lifting off a little bit, but I don't think he was. We've got to change position. McCabe Sam again getting past Choco. Choco used a lot of the battery there. He's on 80% the last time I looked. He's now down to 11%. So those two have been fighting it out and fighting it out hard. And again, they're somehow just about stuck with that DRS of Legend as well. So this is interesting to see. This battle for P4 is not over just yet, and it could get very, very feisty between these drivers.
Yeah, it's all gone down to P9 is the battle for P4 and PSR. Well, it's an Aston Martin sandwich there, isn't it? The Aston Martins are the bread, and they're doing what they can right now. And look at the two different angles. Turn 15. The Red Bull and the Haas take. Again, Rusty looks to the inside into turn 1, but he's maybe just trying to put Sav off. Maybe a little bit of mind game. So lap 30 of 36 here in WR Tier 1 of the console division. And down the Retro Aposta they go, but there's still nothing for Rusty. There's a 1.3 seconds gap between him and Wilson now, and this could be crunch time. I think Rusty really needs to start thinking about an overtaking. About overtaking Sav, or otherwise, like you mentioned, it could be a little bit too late.
Yeah, and again, I've noticed as well, Rusty is not going for the move yet. He's plotting and planning at this point in time. He's just making sure that Wilson does not get in the DRS. That's all he's trying to do. Every time Wilson's around 1.1, he'll use that battery. You'll see it once again. Maybe on the exit here, he'll use some of that battery just to be safe from the fact that Wilson does not get in that DRS. Because I feel like, again, through this middle sector, Wilson has got some very, very good pace. But again, it's just the ERS, which is really holding him back. And there we go. We could see a move now for Rusty. He's closing in. He's going to go to the inside line. Is Sav going to put up the defense? No, but again, Rusty is playing the mind games at this moment in time. He's comfortable with his pace. But where I've noticed he has struggled is into turn 1 and turn 2. That is where his weakest point is. And that's why Sav's able to keep the gap big enough that Rusty is not able to pose any threat into turn 4.
I think Wilson's going to be in the DRS on this lap when they come down through Zhangzhou and into the start-finish straight, because he's so solid in that middle sector. Sav is doing an incredible job. There's a driver around. It's Jensen R again. Not a great day for the PlayStation guys at all. And Legend, the shining light out of all this at the moment. Lap 31 of 36. I mean, there's not much time left here, Ryan. How do you think this one's going to pan out?
I think Rusty is really going to have to go for this sooner rather than later. If he goes for it early, it's a Rusty win in my opinion. Just because that dirty air in the middle sector is so costly. But he's got a good run this time. Will he decide to pounce is another question. That's again closing up onto the back of the Red Bull. This time is he going to go for it? No. He's just toying with us at this moment in time. The Haas is really just playing some good mind games and keeping Sav on his toes. He just knows he does not have to defend any of these points because he knows he's got a big enough gap and he's got good enough battery as well that he can just sit comfortably enough in front.
Well, it's about 50% for Rusty, 40% for Sav. We've lost Connor in the pit lane as well. He's had enough for the time being. Choco dropping away from McCabe Sam. So the battle for P4 is, well, reduced to Cider, Smokey, Legend and Sam there. So Choco and Stonks fighting away for P8. And it's still a very, very unusual race that we've got on our hands here. Sav doing all he can to hold Rusty off in the right places, and I wonder if this time around Wilson's going to be in the DRS. I don't think he is. It's 1.1 seconds, 1.2. Are those tyres now, Wilson's, I'm saying, gone past their best, gone past their sell-by date?
Yeah, I think so. Now we've got finally a move for the lead. Rusty decided lap 33 is his opportunity to go for it. And Sav having nothing to do with it so far. But will he go on the attack once again? Rusty going to get a good exit off turn 2. Now approaching turn 3. Sav looking comfortable that he's just going to let Rusty go through. So he's decided to go early. And remember, he has got 1 lap fresher tyres than Sav. So again, this is going to be an interesting factor into this race. And now could we see Rusty decide to use some of that battery and force Sav having to use the rest of his as well and make sure that Wilson, crucially, does not get in that DRS.
We did see how comfortable Rusty was when he was leading this Grand Prix earlier. I wonder if he's going to be that comfortable now with 3.5 laps remaining. The pressure is on. They're in the pot. It's all down to this. And Rusty currently leading the way. He's 0.6 of a second, 0.7 of a second. I wonder if Sav has dropped off on purpose to get Wilson into the DRS. It might have backfired a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be that much. Sav and Wilson still have a trick up their sleeve yet.
Yeah, Sav made a massive mistake into turn 11. Got on the power slightly too soon, and the rear end just snapped on him, and he had to counter steer, and it was a very good save. But there we go, turn 1 and turn 2, that's where Sav seems to have that little upper hand on Rusty, and that's just crucially got within that DRS. But again now, Wilson has critically got within this DRS range, and could he just maybe put that pressure on Sav and Rusty to force some mistakes?
This is incredible. 2.5 laps remaining here in Brazil then. Rusty leads away from Sav, leads from Wilson. It's a PSR 2-3-4 at the moment. But Sav doing a good job leading. I don't want to say the majority of the Grand Prix because it's kind of split between him and Rusty. How long they've led the Grand Prix. Rusty was on pole. Sav had a great start of this Grand Prix as well. We tried to make the move, but it didn't work. Looking at it, Legend doing really good to really attack those two. To attack Smokey and Cider, but it's not happening at the moment. Looking at it from Sav's point of view, they come down the start-finish straight. Is Sav able to do anything up the inside? Will he think of it? He thinks better of it. Time is running out for Sav to make a move on Rusty now.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a mistake from Rusty. Gone a bit wide, got a bit squirmish on the exit, but again, comfortable enough that he doesn't really have to use any of the battery. It's interesting to see what Sav's going to do, because he's running out of options. Will he use the RS and go for it through this middle sector? We'll have to wait and see. But this is where the tactics become interesting. And Rusty, if Rusty has a crucially good enough middle sector, it'll be his to lose. Because again, you saw how he was able to pull around to the around 6/10 mark through that middle sector, because Sav, look at that, struggling on the traction, getting a bit wobbly and pear-shaped, a bit of a missing of an apex as well. So it's going to be interesting between these two. 4 tenths is the gap. What a final few corners we've got left to go, and what a final lap now we've got on our hands.
Rusty leads the way on lap 35 of 36, but Sav is going to do everything in his power to stop him from winning this Grand Prix. Down the start-finish straight they go for the 35th into the 36th time, and here comes Sav. He's saving energy. The lights flashing. They're side by side as they come into the Center S. Sav takes the lead of this Grand Prix. What can Rusty do as they head down the Retro-Aposta? He's pushing, he's putting everything into this. Full lock. Can he do it? Around the outside. Sav's gone defensive. This could be the winning moment for Rusty. He's in just about the lead of this Grand Prix. It's very close, but here comes Sav trying to get something into Ferradura.
It's a great piece of tactics there from Rusty. Will Sav go for the dive? Rusty covers it off. This is going to get a poor exit for him now, and this could really leave him vulnerable into turn 10. This is going to be Sav's last opportunity, but again, he gets a poor exit. Will he go for a dive? No, he thinks better off it, but what a piece of tactics that was there from Rusty. He decided to let Sav go and get the better exit out of turn 1 and turn 2. That was incredible drive in there from Rusty. Under that pressure, he comes out the final corner into turn 15 now. Surely this is Rusty's race win here at Sao Paulo. What a drive, what a qualifying, what a performance that is from NRX Rusty.
Rusty is your first winner in season 14 here, round 1 of Brazil. And there goes Cider across the line. Legend will come home in P5 there as well. Smokey in P6. 7th going to McCabe. Sam and 8th to Stonks. Choco in 9th and Fabi in 10th place. That rounds out your top 10 here in WOR. We did lose 4 drivers in the end, but wow, what an ending to the Grand Prix. Rusty did everything he needed to. The 3 drivers in the lead, separated by a second. That is incredible. Fantastic stuff from those guys. Rusty, deserved winner, Brian?
Yeah, I'd say so. He put it on pole, and then he led I'd say the majority of this race in total. And he set it up perfectly. He knew what Sab was going to do, and he just let him. He baited him in to go in for that move because he thought, he was going to get a good exit and maybe just hold on. But again, that straight line speed of that Haas and that little bit more of the battery enabled him to get a very, very good and deserved win in my opinion. But yeah, a great job from Rusty. And can he build on this momentum now?
Well, the driver of the day went to PSR Wilson. Ryan, who would you give it to? I think it's a great shout from the game because he did do a wonderful job. But I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think the game's made a pretty good suggestion there. P9 on the grid to a podium. And as well, Kai as well, Cypher in P4. So it was either of those two, to be fair. And Legend, I thought for me was very, very impressive considering I think he went outside the top 10 at one point to come back into P5. But yeah, for my personal take, I'll definitely go for Wilson. I got to agree with the game on that one. From P9 to get a podium, it's no easy task. He had a very, very good opening lap and definitely a deserved driver of the day.
Let's see if the game will give us a leaderboard for this one. It does. Rusty is your winner here in WR Tier 1 for the first time in Season 14. With Sav and Wilson rounding out the podium alongside him. It's looking like a very, very solid season for the Red Bull team. And Aston Martin in P4 with Cider. 5th going to Legend. 6th is Smokey. McCabe Sam in 7th. 8th place to Stonks. 9th to Choco and Fabi rounding out the point scoring positions. Pisty, Dezo, Axe, Placky, Levi and Fern rounding out the rest of the drivers that finished the race, with non-finishing for Connor, Jensen, Sindri and Shazoo. Tom. Right, let's head over to this one because there's this screen, Ryan. This is a strategic first race of the season for WOR Tier 1.
Yeah, exactly. I think a few of the drivers probably be a little bit disappointed with how that race really just unfolded for them today. But, Tom, I think he'll be really, really gutted about that one. That lap 1 crash, and we didn't really get to see what he had to offer today because he put a good qualifying, and then that crash into turn 4, sorry. And that's a real shame for his race, but I'm sure he'll be able to bounce back. But a lot of these drivers, played it safe, I feel like, round 1, not too many dives or anything like that. Nobody was desperate. So, yeah, for an opening round, I thought that wasn't too bad, but it was good entertainment nevertheless.
Right, it does look like we've got a podium interviewee to start life with, so let's head over to speak to Rusty, our race winner. Ryan, you're better at this than me, so I'll hand over to you for this one.
Yeah, Rusty, that 1 lap shootout in qualifying, get in pole position, just take us through the pressure of that lap as well, and to deliver the fastest lap, being the first driver on the track, just take us through that one.
Thank you. I knew I had to get a lap in, and being Haas, luckily I got the closest garage to the exit, so the track was as dry as I possibly could. And I know my quali pace was good. So I know I could get a lap in, and just luckily enough it was quick enough for pole.
Yeah, and then that opening round of the race as well, take us through the opening part of that, because Sav was all over the back of you through that one. And did you feel like maybe he was just decided to work together with you before the pit stops? And take us through the opening phase of the race as well. Were you just trying to work together, or did you just feel like you had the better pace overall?
Well, on the first lap I seen, I think it was Sav and Tom had an incident, so I think there was like a 9/10 gap, but I didn't want to burn on my ERS straight away, so I let Sav back in, but I knew we both had definitely the pace to pull away, which we ended up doing. But I think overall I had the better pace because my middle sector I feel like I had maybe a tiny bit higher wings, because that seemed to be where I was pulling away the most. But it's just a great race, and I'm just absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, exactly. Especially after, some of the things that happened to you last season, a lot of incidents which really you couldn't really avoid. And so to come back, bounce back, opening the round with a race win, and that final lap, I thought was absolutely genius from you as well. Take us through the strategy behind that as well. Were you always going to let Sav through into turn one on that final lap?
Well, I knew he was going to go for it, so there was no point in me wasting the ERS towards the end of the lap. So if I managed to stay close within turn 2 and exit turn 3, and I would get the DRS into turn 4, and that's what happened. And I just managed to give enough space on the inside and managed to hold around the outside, and yeah, that was it. I feel like it was just all planned out perfectly.
Yeah, great job once again. Gareth, have you got any questions for?
No, cracking race. I mean, Brazil is an incredible one. Did you expect it to be such a strategic race tonight?
No, I was not expecting a lot from this race tonight. Obviously, I just got a new wheel, so I've been practicing on that and getting used to the Logitech again tonight. It was a bit difficult, so I wasn't sure how performance was, but it all just played out in my hands, and pace was a lot better than I expected.
Well, congratulations on your victory. Good luck for the season. I'm sure it's going to be a smashing one.
Thank you.
Right then, over to the next one, Ryan. And looks like we got 2 drivers tonight, so it's always nice to get a couple of post-race interviews in on this one. And we've got Wilson for you now.
Yeah, Wilson, this is interesting. Take us through. That was a really poor qualifying on your half, something that you're not used to, being down in P19 and P9. Sorry, not P19. Take us through that qualifying, because were you stuck in a little bit of traffic, and were there a few drivers on that qualifying lap that really maybe distracted you from really nailing that that one-shot qualifying?
Yeah, my first sector let me down. I was about 2.5 tenths off the pace, and just in the first sector alone. And if I take that away, that's like a 0.2, and that puts me in like the top 3. So yeah, that was painful because my race pace was, I thought it was pretty good. I was pushing so hard, I was so on it, and then just so frustrating, because if I had a decent quali, I felt like, I could have won that, because my pace felt in the race was mega, to be honest. So a bit annoyed about the quali, but a good comeback at the end of the day.
Yeah, take us through the opening lap. You're making overtakes left, right, and centre. You're really pushing the car to the limit, and working with Cypher, to hopefully get in the DRS of Smokey. Just take us through that opening lap, because there must have been some brave moves being made.
Yeah, I knew I had to go for it, because I didn't want to sit in DRS train. So I knew I had to go for it. I know like Choco made a small mistake, Legend as well. And then Smokey, I kind of wish I got past Smokey maybe a lap or 2 earlier, because I feel like on that final lap I lost a bit of time. So but I had to go for it, because I was not sitting around. I just thought, got to go for this. I got to get out there in the fight with like Sav and Matthew. So it was good though, good fun, love it.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely towards next week, you'll be looking to just nail down that qualifying and make sure there's no kind of mistakes, because again, a good drive towards the end. And maybe do you think you should have tried to save some of that battery towards the end, because Sav was doing you a little bit of a favour there, backing Matthew up a little bit into you, giving you that opportunity to possibly get into that DRS. Do you think now, looking back, possibly that you should have maybe tried to save some of that battery?
I think I could have, but I knew if I started to not use at all, I thought Matthew and Sav would just go off in the distance. That's kind of what was my thinking. So I was just thinking, if I just keep using, I was getting like a tenth a lap using, and if the odd lap when I didn't use, I was losing like a tenth or 2. So I was like, I'm just gonna push like crazy. But yeah, bit of a tough one, but it is what it is.
Yeah, thank you very much. Gareth, got anything to add?
Wilson, it's a cracking start to the season as racing goes, not qualifying. Obviously, that wasn't ideal for you, but with everything that's going on, with no Otis now, it's going to be a lot tighter at the top of the league, I think. Who do you think is capable of winning this championship?
Well, I'll be honest. I think it's so open. Like, just naming names like Rusty, obviously one say incredible job. Like Rusty, Sav, me, Smokey, Kai, Legend. It's so open. It's crazy. So I'm actually a bit annoyed because I can't race next week. So it's a bit annoying. I kind of wanted to get maximum points today, but yeah, but it's so open. I feel like any one of us, could win it. It's going to be the opposite of last season, where it was just pretty boring because of a certain man. So, but no, those 6, I'd say, big opportunity for us.
Fantastic. Well, good luck for the season for yourself, and well, not good luck for next week because you're not here, but hopefully we will see you in 2 weeks' time, and you will be just as solid as you were tonight.
Yeah, cheers, thank you. Well done, Rusty, as well. Cracking job.
Yeah, GG, mate.
Fantastic. Well, Ryan, we're going to have to unfortunately close the show now. An incredible race, nonetheless. While it was more of a strategic one, we still got to see a lot about the drivers and what they're made of.
Yeah, I thought it was very, very interesting on that part to see how it all really unfolded with the strategy and what each driver was planning on doing there. And Rusty, again, nailed that to perfection, I think. Pitted at the right lap, saved the battery, and then, made Sav go for the move down the inside and, nailed it. It was a perfect race for Rusty, and I think that's got to boost his confidence so much after that disappointing season, remember, last season. So I feel like that'll do in the world of good coming into this season, winning the opening round. Can't be any better than that one.
Definitely not. Rusty's got, well, there's a target on his back now. The people are going to be, he's the one to beat, and come back next week for everyone. If you want to see if anyone is able to beat him, it's going to be a cracking season. Season 14 is going to be the best one yet for WR on the console tiers now. Ryan, final words from you, please, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for everybody who tuned in tonight, and see you in America for the United States Grand Prix. So that should be an interesting one. Definitely going to be a thriller. So I think it's COTA, that's what it is. So I'm looking forward to that one. That's always been a good race, and hopefully we'll have another good one.
Well, that's right. We're going stateside next week. Same time, same place. But for now, from Ryan and myself, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.